The Plus Group. We want to thank you for taking the time to join us today for the Plus Group webinar series. Today's topic is the power of four, and it will be presented to you by Michael Sir. He is the Disability Income Regional Vice President at Principal Financial Group. Please note that all lines will be muted during this webinar. If you'd like to ask a question, please go to the question pane on your control panel and you can type it in. We'll answer the questions at the end of the webinar. Also note that we are recording this webinar and it will be sent to you with the presentation and the audio in a follow-up email. You will also be able to view it at our website at www.plusgroupus.com. Okay, I'm going to turn this over to Mike now.
Well, hello, everybody. I was going to say good afternoon, but it may not be afternoon where you're at. So hello from Minneapolis. And I just want to say thank you to Tracy and for the Plus Group for inviting me to speak today. I've been a disability insurance specialist for most of my 27 years. And, of course, I started when I was in first grade. But I just want to say thank you for investing the next 35 minutes of your time into learning a little bit more about how to better position disability selling. And this topic today is very near and dear to my heart because I've been instrumental with our company to try to design things like this, and then we call it the power of four for a couple of different reasons. One of which is if you think about what we're trying to do, we try to have areas of planning for our customers, and there's 4 steps in order to do that. So what I hope today that you can take away from this is that you're better positioned to be able to work with your business owner clients and how to solve their problems. And so with that in mind, I'd like to go ahead and get started. And the first thing we have to do, and the first step of this whole thing, is understanding the market. The business market, the small and mid-sized business market, is really one of 3 markets that all of us work in. So if you take 2 steps back and think about it, we have a personal market, personal financial planning, which of course involves individual disability insurance. You've got the business owner market, which is a very broad way of working with business owners and their key employees. It could be everything from buy-sell agreements and survivorship and exit planning and all the parts of the business owner needs. But keeping in mind that the business owners have personal needs and business needs. Now the third market is the employee benefit market. You can see they're all tied together. But today we're going to focus on that middle market, which is the business owner market. Now the business market itself is massive. In the slide that I'm showing here, small businesses market comprise 29.2 million small businesses. 97% are with 20 employees or less. So the amount of businesses in all of our towns, in all of our regions, there's just so many businesses to talk to. And in 1993 to 2008, small business owners provided nearly 2/3 of all net jobs in the United States. So clearly the market itself, the place where we all want to be, has more opportunity than we have time. Now we ask, as a company, we hire Harris Interactive, and they do a survey for us every 2 years. And what we do is we ask small and mid-sized businesses to answer a variety of questions, but primarily is to rank the following 10 things in order. And so every 2 years, this is the result that we get. The #1 ranked priority for business owners, what keeps you up most at night, is business protection. And what I find most interesting about this is that on the left-hand side we have the priority, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But on the right-hand side, how many offered? It's kind of a weird way of saying, what have you done about it? And on the right-hand side is kind of the telling tale, which is even though business protection is #1, only 30% of companies in our 2010 survey, and this has been updated, we just got this out recently for our 2012 survey, it's the same numbers. It's the same order of everything, but only 30% of the companies have done anything about it. We're talking about business protection at all. The 2012 survey was 36%. But that's not even addressing disability insurance. That's only part of the business protection model. It could be life insurance. It could be other planning things. I have this survey, and at the end of this, Tracy and I will both mention it, but whatever your Plus Group office contact is has these pieces that we're going to be talking about today. So be sure to ask your Plus Group office for the Thought Capital Business Owner Survey, and that's something that will be sent out to the Plus Group offices. So this is understanding the business market portion of it is just really seeing that there's a lot of need for disability planning inside of that. The number one ranked is business protection. Disability has a big part of that. Number two is the group health benefits, fine. But number three is income protection. I find this shocking. Isn't income protection and disability insurance at the bottom of the totem pole? That's how it appears to be in the marketplace because so few people have done anything about disability. But in fact, it's number three on the business owner's list. So understand the market's really important. The power of four, we go on to the next step, is just better understanding what are the four areas of planning. And we're going to go through each area. Income protection being number one, retirement savings number two, business protection number three, and the fourth area of planning is exit planning. Now, one of the things that I do, and this again is going to be available to you through your Plus Group offices, is I use a fact finder, a company profile that outlines all these areas. I believe that people see and think in pictures and can better learn in pictures and make decisions in pictures. So this four areas of planning is a piece that I sent out, that Tracy sent out to the Plus Group offices that's available to you. Why I designed it like this and why I use it is it's a roadmap. We all know that you get into a conversation and you get talking about a variety of things. You can sometimes get lost in the conversation and kind of forget where you're at. The goal of today is to help you understand that the power of four is discussing the four areas of planning, and so you can go through it with each customer and have that 20-minute conversation to find out which of these areas may apply and which ones don't. Our job is to help them think through what the problems are and then offer the solutions. They can decide if they want to do something about it, but our job is to show them what the problems are. Very few people in our business are good at this. So I hope that whoever's all on the line today can become good at this, and I hope to provide the tools for you, not just the concepts, but the tools for you to go out and visit with business owners to be able to figure out these four areas. So what we're going to do next is we're going to talk about the four areas of planning. The first one is income protection. You're going to notice on there that I have two solutions. Individual DI. I'm an individual DI regional vice president. Of course, that's the most important thing in my business life. However, group long-term disability is not only a good solution. Heck, I have it at principal. As an employee benefit, I have group long-term disability, but I also own a lot of individual DI. Why is that? Well, we're going to obviously explore that. But I think that group long-term disability is a valuable tool because, again, if you walk into a company of 15 employees, say it's an engineering company, they don't have any coverage. Is individual DI the only cards that we can play? The answer is no, of course not. Group long-term disability may be the first card you play. You get a layer of group LTD for all the employees, and then you use individual DI to supplement it. So I'm a huge proponent of utilizing all the tools in the tool chest, and group long-term disability is one of them. So let's look further into the first area of planning, which is income protection. We all know, because we're in the business, that a successful financial plan looks something like this. At the top, of course, we want to have assets and so on to pass on. We want to gather those assets, which is the retirement plans and personal investments and savings and business ownership. But at the bottom is all the risk protection things. Can you imagine owning a brand new car and not putting car insurance on? Of course not. We have life insurance, health insurance, all the insurances, but we all know at the very bottom what fuels all that, and that's income. Income's everything. I have a slide I didn't include it here, but it's a circle of everything, all the pieces of the puzzle from mortgage, utilities, groceries, college education, everything. It all revolves around income. I call it the circle of life. Not the purpose of life, but the circle of life. Because at the very bottom of a financial pyramid is the income that drives the rest. Wouldn't it make sense to protect that? We all know statistics that it's 3-to-1 odds of suffering a long-term disability, a sickness or an injury that prevents you from working for 90 days or longer. It's always 3-to-1 over dying in any given year. And I think statistics are valuable, but quite frankly, I think most people just look at that, it just happens to somebody else. Statistics only matter if it happens to you, I suppose. And so statistics, I think, are valuable, but I don't think it's the most valuable way to have a conversation. So we're talking about the first area of planning with income protection. We have to understand that bad things happen to good people. For example, this is a snapshot of our claims at principal, and we say disability plays no favorites. If you look at this pie chart, it's pretty shocking to think that only in the upper left-hand corner, only 9% of our claims are from injuries. That means 91% are from illnesses and diseases and so on. Look at the various categories. musculoskeletal tissue and connective tissue is 31%, all the way down to cancer. Doesn't everybody get cancer? But it's only 7% of our claims. Very interesting what actually long-term disables people, and helping people understand that bad things do happen to good people, and it can come from anywhere, and it's not just the drunk driver we had after dinner one night. So understanding that the income protection component of the 4 areas of planning starts with, we don't know what's going to happen. We hope nothing ever happens, nothing bad ever happens to you. However, we have to be prepared just in case it does. So individual disability insurance provides that monthly income. You can call it paycheck insurance to the business owner. You can call it profit insurance. But we sell this type of product to make sure that the key people, the owners, the key employees have enough income protected. And again, what about the rest of the employees? Well, group long-term disability may be the best solution for the whole company. But the people making the money, the people who are key, the people who are most important to the firm need to be looking at individual DI to make sure that their financial pyramid is covered. You'll see here the benefits. Whenever there's 3 or more lives, there's multi-life discounts and so on. So you can see that there are a variety of ways, that, whether it's employer paid or employee paid, to utilize individual disability insurance. But it can be discounted when there's 3 or more lives, and we use it for key employees. It can be employer paid and provided for the key group. It can be voluntary. We have all sorts of plans out there. Now, what if they have a group LTD plan, whether we put it in and recommend it, or it's already there when you start the conversation, or maybe it's an existing client of yours and they already have a group LTD plan. The question is it enough? Here's a situation here where you've got a person making $75,000 per year. You break that into a monthly amount. That person grosses $62.50 per month. You take taxes out. I mean, we use a 30% state and local taxes. That person lives on about $4,600, almost $4,700 per month. The problem with a group LTD plan is that 60% of the gross amount only is $37.50. And if it's taxable, which most LTD plans are, that person is going to try to live on $26.25. So do you think we have a problem? Yes. The problem is they have a 40% pay cut. So the solution, of course, is using individual disability insurance to supplement. In this case here, we're using $1,600 of tax-free individual DI to supplement the net benefit from the group LTD. So now we're sitting at a take-home pay of $42.25. You know, the net income before was $46.87. So what shoes would you rather be in? Sitting there trying to keep your house, your mortgage, utilities, groceries paid with $42.25 or $26.25? This is why I own as much individual DI as I can get my hands on. I practice what I preach. I spend a lot of money each year on life insurance and disability insurance, and it's for this very reason. I have a taxable group LTD plan, and it would not be enough to sustain my family. That's the first area of planning, was income protection. So we're going to go to the second area of planning, which is retirement savings. Now, the DI retirement security is our version of this, principal version of this, to how to solve this problem. Now, it's directly related to income protection. This is a personal policy. This is still on the personal side of things, and making sure that that financial pyramid is taken care of for key employees as well as the business owners and highly compensated employees. And so the DI retirement security is a fabulous tool to work with highly compensated folks. The objective of DI retirement security is it helps continue savings for retirement if they're too sick or hurt to work. We got to think about a few things. Mike Sir has a 401k at Principal Financial Group, and I have a company match. So if Mike Sir becomes disabled, what are my problems? Well, first is the mortgage, utilities, groceries, and the medical expenses, and all the things I already covered. That's why I own individual DI to supplement my group LTD. But how does Mike Sir keep saving for retirement if I'm using my individual DI and my group LTD to take care of the mortgage, utilities, groceries, and all the regular expenses? The truth is there's not going to be enough left over. How do I know this? I know many, many people who have been disabled for long periods of time, and the first thing they say is, first of all, did they do a good job with the group LTD and the individual DI, the income protection portion of it? And if the answer is, no, we haven't, well, we got to solve that problem first. But provided that they did solve that problem, the question is, where's the money going to come from for the problem number 2, and that's the retirement savings. I've never had anybody yet, unless they've owned DI retirement security, be able to save extra money while disabled because it's already taken care of. Whenever I'm talking to clients, I always say 2 things. When somebody's long-term disabled, too sick or hurt to work for a long period of time, 2 things happen. Number 1, the regular bills keep coming. The mortgage, utilities, groceries, those are still there. But number 2 is expenses go up. So if expenses go up, whatever cushion there would have been to save for money, save for retirement, just isn't there anymore. So the solution is, that's the problem, the solution is the DI retirement security, which is a great way to save while they're disabled. Here's a great way to look at it. The impact of trying to save, what if you keep working, you're age 30, then one day you're 40 and so on, and you're trying to put a financial plan together that works so you can retire one day. If you come up short because of a disability, there's a massive gap there. Mike Sir's got a 401k. I contribute to it. I max it out. My company puts money in on my behalf. That's the second thing. Third thing is I also, for what it's going to be worth one day, I still contribute to Social Security, and that's part of all of our retirement pie charts. And, oh, by the way, I have, I try to save money for the long term as well. And, I've got rollover monies and things like that. If I'm too sick or hurt to work, am I still going to be able to contribute to my 401k at work? And the answer is, of course not. Will principal be able to put money in on my behalf? The answer is, of course not. And if I'm no longer working, how am I going to be contributing to Social Security? The answer is, I won't be. Just by itself, that's a triple whammy, and it's going to affect people's retirement. So there's going to be a gap if we're no longer able to work, and that's what DI retirement is designed to do. Now, the third area of planning is business protection. We're going to shift right to the number 1 topic of what the business owners tell us in the surveys. How do I protect my business? Now, we have 3 components. The first one is overhead expense. That's for small businesses. We have a business loan protection, and that's for businesses that have business loans. Most small businesses have loans. If it's a fixed business loan, we have a solution for that. If they're too sick or hurt to work, who's going to pay that? And the last one is key person replacement. It's great to walk into a business and say, who are your key people? And what by key I mean, define what key means. And if you lost one of them to death or disability, or if they simply left you, would it hurt? If the answer is yes, you need to be thinking about life insurance and disability key person on those key people. So we'll get to that here in just a second. So let's talk about business protection. First one is overhead expense. The objective of overhead expense is to reimburse the business owner for covered business expenses, such as utilities, insurance premiums, mortgage, rent, employee salaries, and so on. Now, overhead expense is a fabulous solution for the small business. We're talking 15 employees, maybe 20 employees, 1 or 2 business owners. Overhead expense covers the fixed costs because every business owner wakes up on Monday morning of the first day of the month, and they're going to have a certain amount of overhead that they got to cover first before they make any money. So how do we take care of the overhead? Well, that's what overhead expense is designed to do. If it's a large company with 30, 40, 100 employees, they don't need this. I like to pull things away as much as I like to offer them up. And overhead expense is designed for 1 or 2 owners. Yeah, once in a while you get a law firm or someplace where you could have overhead divided up differently, but it tends to be for small, closely held companies, 15 employees or less. It simply buys them time. Time to what? For the owner to either recover or to sell. And if he has a partner or 2, that's what the buy-sell agreement is going to do, is buys them enough time to let the buy-sell agreement do its job. We'll get to that here shortly. But overhead expense is a fabulous tool to be able to cover that fixed overhead. If you've sold any overhead expense, you know that it's a reimbursement policy, which means it reimburses actual business expenses. The premiums are tax deductible no matter what entity the business is. And these are very attractive pieces of the conversation to have with a business owner. The second part of the overhead expense is the business loan protection rider. Now, if you think about a dentist, or if you think about a vet practice or an optometrist or an accounting firm, a lot of times they've had to either buy into the practice, and a lot of times there'll be an owner finance situation. That's great. The question is, if you got a young vet who's buying into the practice and they're getting their money either from a bank or from the retiring owner, what's going to happen if the young vet develops cancer? Who's going to make the payments to either the bank or the owner who financed the business? The answer is, well, it depends if there's any money left over. Well, what happens if there's not? That's where we come in. The business loan protection rider is specific to that particular loan. So if they took out a 10-year note, a 10-year loan, payable to a bank, borrowed the money from a bank to buy into a vet practice for $500,000, somebody's responsible for that. And you know that the young vet who's buying in had to tie up a whole bunch of personal assets and make a lot of promises. So if he or she's too sick or hurt to work, the bank's going to get their money. So wouldn't it be good to have an insurance policy that if that vet became disabled, that the bank gets their money, except it comes from an insurance company, not from the personal assets of the disabled vet. The business loan protection rider is a fabulous tool for that small or mid-sized business owner who's got business loans. And we can tag that business loan for the dollar amount for the duration of the loan. Now the next area, of course, or the next tool in the business protection area of planning is key person. As I mentioned before, this is probably one of the things that I enjoy most about working with small, mid-sized businesses is walking in, you're sitting down with the business owner or the owners and the decision makers and say, okay, I know you guys are key to the business, but tell me, who in this company's key? And let me define that. If you lost them to death or disability, or if they simply left you, it would hurt, and they'll tell you. And so every business has key people. If you walk into a business they don't have any key people, they're probably not a very successful business. Every business has key people. The question is, why are they key? What do you do differently for them? Do you give them a deferred comp plan? Do you give them more money? Do you give them a bonus plan, a car program? Whatever it is, they're key for a reason. You don't want to lose them. Well, what if they got killed in a car accident? That's what life insurance is for. It's the money necessary to absorb the loss. Lost revenue, lost relationships, hiring somebody, training somebody new. It costs money when you lose a key person, and how to replace them and get things back on track. Same thing's true with disability. What if the car accident doesn't kill them, but it keeps them from working? It's whatever kind of injury, they're not coming back. It's the same concept. So key person disability is literally the easiest sale talking with a business, because they've already thought about the death part. Whether they have updated their plans lately with death benefit and life insurance or not, usually it's a great opportunity to make sure everything's up to speed, or they hired a couple new people, or they've become new. They're now key people when they were new a few years ago. Key person disability is a fabulous way to go in there, and it just takes the edge off. It demonstrates financial stability. Expense management benefits are received tax-free. It's a great tool for small and mid-sized businesses. Now, the fourth area of planning is exit planning. We're talking about the disability buyout to be the funding vehicle to take care of their buy-sell agreement. Now, we all know, just the law of numbers, that if you've got more than one owner, the odds of losing somebody, of course, go up. And here's a good example that as you get more owners, the odds of losing someone to a 90-day or longer disability increase. This is something you have to recognize. If you have 3 owners, you need to be thinking about losing one of you. That's very important to point that out. Now, one of the things we do as a company is we do a free buy-sell review, and we'll make sure that their buy-sell through our attorneys and CPAs of our team down in Des Moines is that we ask them for a copy of their buy-sell agreement just to make sure that all what I call the 5 Ds of a good buy-sell agreement. If you want to write these down, there's 5 Ds of a good buy-sell agreement. Number 1 is, does it protect if one of the partners dies? The first one's death. Number 2 is, what if one of the partners becomes disabled? Number 3 is, what if there's a disagreement and one of the partners wants to leave? Number 4 is, what about retirement? We have to stretch for this one. Desire to retire. What about retirement? What does that act look like? And the last one is divorce. How would a divorce of one of the partners affect the business? A good buy-sell agreement needs to make sure that all those things, all the various parts are all tight and they're all in the agreement. Well, guess what? Most buy-sell agreements, I would say virtually all buy-sell agreements, are woefully written. They may not even address 2 or 3 or even 4 of those Ds. They're just an operating agreement, and you kind of hope that bad things don't happen to good people, and it turns out to be a mess if it does. So what we do as a company is we will review those for free, and our attorneys will make recommendations on the things that need to be there. The second thing that we do is we do an informal business valuation. Most businesses have no idea really of what their business is worth. They may have never had a formal business valuation, but one day the IRS is going to value their business. So wouldn't it be good for planning purposes to have an idea based on the same methods that the IRS uses? There's 5 methods the IRS uses that we do, that we'll do an informal business valuation for free, no cost deal with our CPAs down in Des Moines, and it's a fabulous way to help with these conversations. We do that with no cost, and I'll go through here what's necessary. But what I've done, we've been involved in dozens and dozens of these. And what it does is it just helps bring people to the table. You can offer this to your clients with no cost, no obligation, and what it does is it just opens up all the areas of planning that need to be discussed. It talks about key person, it talks about life insurance, it talks about disability buyout, it talks about income protection. It's just making sure that the businesses that we work with have done their part, which is making sure they're planned in case something bad happens to them. So disability buyout is one of the solutions, and disability buyout isn't for every company. There's got to be 2 or more active owners. It does not work with a sole proprietor or a sole owner. Not that they don't need a sole owner doesn't need an operating agreement or some type of buy-sell agreement with maybe one of their key employees or with a competitor. That's all fine, and that's all necessary. But from an insurance standpoint, disability buyout insurance only works when there's 2 or more active owners. Now, the other area of disability buyout does not work is if there's a parent-child, like a father-son business. Because when dad retires, the kid's going to get it anyway. That's not a very good risk for disability. Husband-wife. If the wife becomes disabled, it's the husband. It's going to go to, it's going to be his anyway. So that's not. So husband-wife, parent-child doesn't work. However, siblings, cousins, neighbors, everything else pretty much works. So disability buyout is a great funding source to help fund one of the Ds of the buy-sell agreement, which is the disability portion of it. So do I see a lot of that? Disability buyout is, we're the largest writer of disability buyout in the country, and the reason why is we put small and mid-sized businesses as our forefront of our marketing. And when we have this conversation, guess what? A lot of businesses think, we fund it with life insurance. Why wouldn't we do it for disability if there's a better chance of that happening? So there's a lot of sales to be made, a lot of problems to be solved with the disability buyout. So how do you get started with all this? Obviously set the appointment, number 1, but getting the basic information. One of the things that Tracy sent out to all the Plus Group members is that we have a fact finder to go ahead and record this information. This is the cover of it. I designed this, and what we're looking for there is making sure that we can get a profile of the business. Things like, are they an S corporation? What's the nature of their business? How many years have you been operating? How many owners are there? Who owns what percentage? How many employees do you have? And how many key employees? All these things are in this fact finder. It's literally a roadmap, a sales track to run on. And the 4 areas of planning that I've been going through here is one of the things that Tracy sent out. So the Plus Group members have all these things. So understanding and getting the employee census, copies of any existing disability coverage, business planning summary, the 4 areas of planning, all these things are available to you. Contact your Plus Group office and they'll get all these things to you. But it all starts with setting up the appointment and getting the whole thing going. You collect the data. For example, if they're interested in the buy-sell agreement, get a copy of their buy-sell agreement. If they're interested in getting the informal business valuation done, get 3 years of financials. We prefer balance sheets and income statements, but if they don't have those, then get 3 full years of company tax returns. We send that along with the JJ 1802, which is just the request for proposal, and you send it to your local Plus Group office, and they'll process that for you. They'll get it down to principal's home office. They'll work up the numbers. It takes about 10 business days to get the valuation done, and it takes about 15 business days to get the buy-sell reviewed. So just set up expectations. We do a lot of these. Our CPAs and attorneys are doing these every day, all day long. Just get this information, and then you go back there and we start building it from there, figuring out what the problems are, finding out which areas of planning, especially in the disability area, that we need to be dealing with, and our job is to come back and say, okay, let's understand the problems, let's figure out what the solutions are, and then help guide them through the process to see if they want to do something about it. That's how you close the sale. Now that concludes my portion of it. There's going to be an opportunity. Tracy's going to explain that again on what to do in order to ask questions. So Tracy, why don't you go ahead and do that, please?
Yeah, if anyone has a question, you can type it on the right-hand side where it says question. You just type it in, and we'll be happy to address it. I know I've already had a couple people ask me about the slides. So again, you will get a link by tomorrow, which has all the slides as well as the audio portion. My couple people asked if you have the slides in a PDF format. Is that something you have?
I do. How about I get that to you?
Send that over to me. So again,
Okay.
if you prefer to have them in PDF, we could also get those over to you. So a couple of people asked about that.
Sure.
Is principal working on any kind of student loan DI?
The answer is kind of, sort of. Right now, our business loan protector is for businesses, and so how do you have a student? Because a lot of people that come out of the student loan thing tend to be doctors and dentists and orthodontists and so on. And so, are we working on it? Kind of, sort of. The issue we have is filing. As everybody knows, the state filing a new product is just a nightmare. Adding riders like we did with the business loan protector is easier. So whether or not we ultimately get to overall student loans, I don't know. Maybe we can do something with the student loans for business owners, like if they are a dentist and they have student loans, maybe there's something we can do there. At this point, we don't have a solution for that for student loans, but it's been talked about quite, and I just don't know if we're going to get there, but there's a possibility.
Great. Next question is, is the premium deductible?
The deductibility is depending on the product, and if you look at the 4 areas of planning, income, individual disability and group LTD can be. If it's an S corporation or flow-through, the premiums are not deductible like they would be for employees. DI retirement security, same thing. Overhead expense is always tax deductible. It doesn't matter what entity, is always tax deductible to the business, as is the business loan protector. Key person replacement is never tax deductible, and disability buyout insurance is never tax deductible.
There's another follow-up question regarding student loans. Somebody once said that they believe that Guardian has a student loan DI. Is that correct? And if so, how do you compete?
The answer is Guardian, I think in most states, does have a student loan deal. That's how they filed it. And how we compete is we don't. If somebody needs a student loan deal and they've got the solution, then they can solve it, and we can't. So can't be everything to everybody. We do a very good job, and but we can't be, right at this point, we don't.
Next one is JJ, the publications, are they available online?
Yes, on EFP. We have our principal website, everything, all the forms that are available online, or you can get them, of course, through the Plus Group offices, and the RFP, that JJ1802 or whatever number that is something that, if I didn't send that, I'll send that out to Tracy as well. You make sure that all the Plus Group offices have that as well.
Great. I think you addressed this one. Key person insurance is received tax-free? That's
correct. Yep, we're using after-tax dollars. The business owns the key person replacement, pays the premium for the key person replacement. So if that key person, who's the insured, becomes disabled, that money is owned by and is payable to the business, not to the key employee, and it comes into the business tax-free.
Great. This presentation says for producer use only. Is there a similar presentation that is client approved?
Not. The answer is yes. It doesn't look and act just like this. This is for our education, and principal does have that. So have your Plus Group office request that, and the RVP, like me, would be able to track that down. There are consumer-oriented ones here. It's reduced down. It's not as involved as this one.
Got it. Let me see. Michael, what is your preferred key person plan design? We struggle with that.
Wow, what a great question. This is one of my favorite passions, which is I look at disability, key person disability, like a death benefit. I like to use, the way the principal sets it up is we can have the benefit start as early as 90 days, but it has to be done in a monthly payout. Then we have a washout or a lump sum at the end of a period of time. We can set it up like that. So 90-day wait, you could have a lump sum at the end of 180 days or all the way up to 2 years. My favorite is a 180-day elimination period lump sum period. And the reason why I like that is 180 days for a key employee being gone is a fair amount of time. However, business owners get the fact they buy life insurance, that's a death benefit, that's a lump sum. So we're just doing it with a 180-day elimination period. It's simpler, and it's not the cheapest way, but they get it. And they say, oh, so if the car accident kills them, you got a death benefit right away. If the car accident does not kill them but disables them after 180 days to make sure that they're going to be out for a long enough period of time and they're not coming back, after 180 days you get a lump sum just like a death benefit.
Great. It looks like that's, again, if you have any questions, please feel free to type them in. If not, and if you think of any questions, please feel free to contact your local Plus Group office. We'll be happy to take care of that for you. And Mike, I think you did a fabulous job. Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone, for attending. And again, contact your local Plus Group office for more information about this webinar or any of our future webinars. So thanks again, everyone. Mike, thank you. And everyone have a great day.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.